911 to ensure that Mom and I made it out alive.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
So
didn't expect that coming.
Yeah, it really, but those are the things that'll change you, right? Those are the things that stick with you, right? Like a good old scar. But the fact is that I really then later, it was funny because, as I just explained to you, like here's this fantastic woman who, persevered through, all the challenges, getting, divorced when I was like 1.5 years old, and then blazing the path, and then she made a wrong choice. And so for me, I went on in life, I then went off to, high school and college or whatever with bad relationships, bad choices of people, bad business partners after, bad, like all these things. And I was always kind of searching of like, why did she make that bad choice? How did she and really just trying to dissect and understand these choices because, now conversely, after really searching and really knowing what was important was choosing the right people, like you just said about the entrepreneur business, which I'll definitely swing back to. But like, I've now been married 28 years to my best friend, my business partner, and, the love of my life. So, and we haven't had any problems that I saw happen in relationships before. So we were able to flip the script because of really understanding that. And my wife comes from a divorced family as well and really had that same view of like, look, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. And we knew that from the get-go. And the raising of our children was a lot of homeschooling, a lot of, allowing them to have outdoor adventure and Boy Scouts and, all of these different things. They've traveled the world. And now they even live across in other places of the world in their early 20s because that was the way they were raised. And we wanted to flip the script on the way we were done. Now, how does this, align with your business? Well, it aligns with your business because unfortunately or fortunately, you spend more time in your business than you do usually in your own home or in your own family. Mm-hmm. And so when you're interviewing somebody, I really say, just put this question into your next interview in the back of your mind. Would you give the front door key to your house to that potential candidate?
Wow.
Boom. And you got to you go, well, I'm not hiring him to, come into my house. It's just my business. Just your business? Give me a break. Your business is your business, your baby, your lifeline, your survival. He screws up, she screws up, now you lose customers because of bad relationships. And then we all know bad news spreads 10 times faster than good news. And your business could be ruined by that person and then you say, well, I would never give him the front door key to my house, but boy, he can come work in my, restaurant as a waiter. And now he's driving away customers in droves, So you have to have that view that the people, it's also granting them importance, These people are not just employees. They're somebody who's coming to help contribute to your vision, to your passion, to your dream, to your solution to others' problems. That becomes a little more important than just a smile and a handshake. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. What's interesting to flip that conversation a little bit, I spent 12 years of my life working for In-N-Out Burger in Southern California, and I was there during...
Oh, they're awesome.
I knew that was coming.
No, dude. I lived in LA for 20-something years, so I'm a huge In-N-Out guy.
Clearly.
I hope you don't know. Wait, you can't give me bad news about them in this conversation. I will end the podcast. Right now.
I really appreciate you saying that. My brother spent 35 years there, working just about every position there was, including COO and president at one point. He just retired. But
great.
I want to give you great news about In-N-Out, and I think it's a great lesson for our listeners, and I'd like you to weigh in on it. And what that is I was there at a transition point with that company in the early 80s when they had employees and they made a conscious decision to raise their own minimum wage and hire top-level employees and have a transformational shift within the people that work for them. And it cost them a lot of money to do that because anybody that was there, they gave them, I think it was a $2 to $3 raise. Anybody that they hired from then on were making $2 or $3 more than minimum wage. And the purpose of them doing that was that they wanted to attract people that represented their vision and their company. And I think, we're talking about as a hiring manager, would you give that person the keys to your house? And oftentimes the answer is no. And I think we also give the excuse of, well, we're just not getting very good candidates. And I think that's a perfect time it's a perfect time to look internally at what are you projecting to the public, right? And so if you take that In-N-Out as an example and the type of people that work there, you're attracting people like that. And I'm sure that you could weigh in on this. I want to hear your opinion. So it's a good story about In-N-Out, and it's also a good story about how you attract the right people to come and apply so that you can hire them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really happy to hear that, because I have also, as an outside observer, really seen that that's the truth. And I know that, In-N-Out has the reputation of being, a family-owned business, which, sadly lost, the majority of the family years ago altogether in a plane crash, which was, completely devastating.
Yeah.
And amazingly enough, the questions that came from that were, okay, is now the brand going to be soiled? Because it was so well entrenched as this is a family-run business. We take great care of our employees. We have a path for management. We have, and I don't know if the listeners know this like you and I do, but like a manager at In-N-Out makes 6 figures. I mean, we're not talking about like, I run a corner Burger King or something like that. By the way, McDonald's is a hiring academy client, so I have all the great respect for McDonald's processes as well. But now Burger King, no, I'm kidding. But In-N-Out has this reputation of they take really good care of their staff. They are always really upbeat in customer service. They have always fresh food. They only are in a couple states, because if you're not close enough to the meat distribution plants to not have your meat frozen, then you can't have an In-N-Out, and they will not award a license from anywhere that is not within the distribution of the meat. So those are core values that then attract people.
Yeah.
And I really think you had mentioned in there about there's just no good candidates. I just call BS on that, because if you really just sat down, and I have people do an exercise in my book when they want to hire someone, especially of a little bit higher level, but you could do it for anything. If you just sat down and you said, okay, good, and realize I'm also not an HR attorney, and there may be advice I give that, may be questionable under, the fine print of the law. But I say, look, just sit down and picture who that person is. Are they trained in the field or not trained in the field? Are they a social personality or an introvert? Are they, highly skilled in something? Are they this? Are they that? And really just map out for yourself exactly who that ideal candidate is. And I'm telling you, there's going to be a whole bunch of times where that person just walks through the door.
Yeah.
And I think by establishing that culture, In-N-Out did that. And they just had droves of the right people coming through the door, because the wrong person wasn't going to fit. The person who would go work at some cheap, burger chain or whatever wasn't going to survive in the team that was created at an In-N-Out environment.
Well, I think that this is a great lesson for our entrepreneurs. When you create a culture, and it's clear and prevalent in how you convey that message to the public, you will attract those types of people. You're spot on with your knowledge on In-N-Out Burger. I spent a lot of years there. And speaking of available candidates, I spent a lot of time with In-N-Out at their new store openings, helping them hire the crew. And I remember specifically some locations where we had over 1,000 applicants in 2 days that waited in line.
Wow.
They would wait in line for a 3-minute interview. And I will tell you what, it was one of the hardest processes, not because the amount of people, but how good the candidates were, because people, they knew what the expectation was, and they showed up and brought their A game. So it was very hard to decipher the best of the best, but that's what they attracted. And I think as entrepreneurs, we can strive to do the same. I will give a plug to a previous podcast I did with my brother. His name is Mark Taylor. It's a 2-part show I think it's in the early 20s on our podcast list there. And Mark talks about his life with In-N-Out, his 35 plus years running the company. And by the way, the people that passed away in the jet, Rich Schneider, had a 15-year vision for the company, and it was my brother's job to make sure that got instituted and gave them that trajectory. So, David, thanks again for your knowledge on that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know that we, due to my fault, we're on limited time here, but you've got an event coming up, and I'd love for you to spend a few minutes on what that event is and what you guys are talking about and really how people can find it, because I think what you do is fascinating. I love your energy, and I love the things that you've said. I'd love to get people involved with what you're doing.
I appreciate it a lot. So for the hiring stuff, basically we took the books and we created an online platform. It's virtual training, so it's really easy to go through and to learn some really amazing fundamentals to help you learn how to hire the right people the first time and every time. That's at hiringacademy.com. And you can just go to hiringacademy.com, and there's, I think there's even a big special running right now for all these podcast episodes. So that'll be awesome. And then, like I said, I moved on to now wanting to help other people become entrepreneurs. So I created a conference called the Create Your Future Conference. And we help people become authors, speakers, coaches, online marketers. And we have some of the top amazing speakers on the planet, everybody from Tim Storey, who's, well known for being on the Oprah Network and Super Soul Sunday, and Joe Polish, who's one of the biggest marketing geniuses in the world, and Ted McGrath's Message to Millions, Coach Michael Bird, Steve Sims. The list just keeps going and going. Amazing people. And we really put in the mantra that this is not a motivational event, because I feel like a motivational event gets you motivated for a couple days. This is, not overhyped. We're going to give you a glimpse into the true day-to-day of an entrepreneur, and then give you actionable tools to use as an entrepreneur so that you can go out and succeed. It's at createconference.com, which we use Create as CR8. That's kind of our banner logo. So CR8conference.com, and it's coming up in March in Phoenix, Arizona, March 27th and 28th in Phoenix, Arizona.
Perfect time to be out in Phoenix, by the way. It's not too hot, not too cold.
Spring training.
Beautiful. Yeah, spring training. Lots going on in the bars and restaurants. Well, we certainly appreciate the wisdom that you imparted on the show today and what you had to offer. I just think it's so important that people think about, who they're hiring, how you present your business, and as an entrepreneur, how you set yourself up. And we should follow our dreams and passions. Any last minute words of advice for people out there from your years of training?
One, I just really want to thank you, Jim. This has been one of the best conversations I've had, and I've done a lot of podcasts. So I really appreciate your insights and knowledge as well. And then, all I can say is just go chase your dreams. Really go and, don't give up on them. Don't listen to other people and the naysayers and, you'll never succeed at that. Just go out and find help, and that can start with just Googling it. If you've got an idea, you think there's a problem out there that you can solve, then Google it. I'm sure someone's come up with something in the area to either tell you, whoa, this is definitely not the business path to go down, or, yeah, here's how you can actually succeed in this area, and then go ask for help. I've knocked on a lot of doors, literally, to get help from people I saw were successful, and most of the time they're really willing to help and mentor you and at least point you in the right direction.
Yeah, well, that's a great piece of advice. I've knocked on a lot of doors, and you will find that people do want to help, myself included. I know that David Lee, it can be a resource. He's got cr8conference.com. You can also check him out on his own website. He's there for you. I'm here for you at the livelifedriven.com website. Thanks for listening to the show. David, best of luck to you at your conference. Enjoy it, and thanks for your time.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you for listening to today's show. It is my pleasure and honor to interview all of the guests that have been on the Answer is Yes podcast. If you have enjoyed the show, please go on iTunes and subscribe, give a rating, or simply tell a friend about the show. We also believe in the message of our guests and the positive influence of their stories. As my own mentor and coach, David Meltzer has taught me, Spend some time every day thinking and writing about the things in your own life